start. We're in lesson 6 of our guided notes. We have that Eva estimates that 475 songs will fit on her MP3 player. The actual amount of songs that fit is 380. We want to find, we're looking for percent error. If you remember from Friday, we set that up as the amount of error over the actual, and we're writing a proportion, so we set it equal to percent over 100. So if I want to fill in my two fractions, how much was her guess off by? How far off was she? 95. You subtract 475 minus 380 to get 95. And what is the actual amount that fits on her MP3 player? 380. We don't know the percent, so we're going to write that as x over 100. We then multiply the two numbers we know how to multiply. 95 times 100 gives us 9,500 or 9,500, and we have to do what with our leftover number? Divide. So we're going to divide by 380, and we get 25. Since we were finding percent error, we have 25% error as our answer. Okay, the heading for your notes today is sales tax, tips, and markups. Our target is students will be able to calculate the sales tax, tips, and markup and calculate the total cost. We have a couple new vocabulary words. Some of them might be things that you have seen before. The first one is sales tax. Sales tax is an additional amount of money charged on items that people buy. When you find the total cost of an item, it is the regular price plus your sales tax. You have to add in your sales tax. The next vocabulary we have is a tip. It's sometimes called gratuity. It is a small amount of money in return for a service, and it's also added to the total price. So if you go to a restaurant, generally you're supposed to tip your waitress or waiter. If you get your nails done, you sometimes add in a tip. Another vocabulary word is markup. The store sells an item for more than it pays for the item, and that's what we call the markup. So let's say Walmart paid $5 for a t-shirt. When they sell it to you, they're not going to sell it for $5 because then they're making no money. They mark it up, and the selling price is the amount that the customer pays for the item. Okay, for our first example, we have that Drew wants to buy exercise equipment that costs $140 and the sales tax is 5.75%. The way we're going to set this up is just like your percent of change proportion. So we're going to have the change over the original equals percent over 100. This time we're given the percent, but we need to find our change. So when I set up my proportion, how do I write 5.75% as a fraction? 5.75 and percents are out of 100. And we know that the original price is $140, so would that go in our numerator or denominator? Denominator. And we're not sure what's up here, so we're going to fill that in with an x. We're going to multiply the two numbers we know how to multiply. So we're multiplying 140 times 5.75, and what do we get? 805. We have to do what with our leftover number? Divide, and we're dividing by 100, and we should get
80.2.
8.05. So this amount right here is the amount that we're paying in tax. This is the amount that's changing. Is tax something that we add or subtract from our total? Add. So we're going to take our original price, which is $140, and add in our tax, which is $8.05. And when you add these two together, what do we get for our total cost? $148.05. For our second example, we have that a customer wants to tip 15% on a restaurant bill that is $35. We want to determine what the total bill with tip will be. So I'm going to set up my proportion. If we have 15%, I know my percent. How do I write that as a fraction? 15 over 100. And the bill came to how much? 35. Is that our original price or our change? It's our original. It's what we're starting with. We want to find out how much it's going to change by once we add in our tip. So our x goes in the numerator. We multiply the two numbers. We know how to multiply. 35 times 15 gives us 525. And we have to divide by our leftover number, which is 100. And what do we get? 5.25. So you're gonna leave a $5.25 tip. What do we have to do with that amount, our amount of change, and our original? Add them together because it's an additional price that we're paying. When you combine these two, $35 plus $5.25 gives us $40.25. Okay, and our third example is set up the same way. This one, we have a store pays $56 for a GPS navigation system. The markup is 25%, and we want to find the selling price. I'm going to set up my two fractions so I can set up the proportion. We know the percent, and our percent is how many? 25. How do we write that as a fraction? 25 over 100. Our original price, or the price that the store paid for it, is how much? 56, and we want to find out how much they're marking it up, and that's going to be our value for x. We can go ahead and cross multiply the two numbers we know how to multiply. 56 times 25 gives us 1,400, and we do what with our leftover number? Divide. And when we divide these two numbers, we get 14. What is our next step here?
Add.
We have to add that to what? 56. The store paid $56 for it, but they're marking it up an extra $14. When you add that together, we get 70. So the store is selling it for $70. So let me ask you guys this. Every GPS that the store sells, how much of a profit are they making on each GPS? 14. That markup is how much they're earning for each GPS. So what I want you to do is go ahead and try the 3 on your own problems. Pay attention to number 2. It's a 2-step problem. You're first going to find your cost of your haircut and add in your sales tax. Once you find that, you are then going to add in a 15% tip. So we will go over those in a few minutes. We already went in 4th period. That's 2 periods ago. I know.